been a late-night player. I've been broke, it's a joke, I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, lock, and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Enough jumps, the middle finger make my Jaeger.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I'm your host, Scott D. Lewis, here in studio, not quite live for your viewing pleasure, but we are here doing a tape show on Thursday afternoon, and we are here at a new time.
Yeah, 6:30 to 7.
That's right, 6:30 to 7. Hope that we did not throw you off. We've been away for most of the summer, last month or so, enjoying some vacation time, some strange work schedules interfering with things, and generally just ignoring the Boston Red Sox and the world of Major League Baseball.
Well, the Mets too.
Mets, Yankees, Red Sox, everybody not having a great summer, that's for sure. Been trying to have a good summer otherwise. As you hear, my right-hand man is back in action,
Yes.
Mr. Bob Raw Jr., and there we see him with his little buddy there, Connor.
Yes.
Faco, who is in studio.
Yes,
right
he
now.
is.
I think he's running the audio.
Yeah.
Check. Am I on? Can you hear me?
me?
Are these microphones working? Connor, how you doing in the studio?
He's doing
All
good.
right. Bob, how you doing?
I'm good. We had a great summer.
Great summer.
I got to go to New Hampshire and spend some time with Jolene, my fiance, and Jenna and Connor, so we had a really good time.
I know you did receive some pretty bad news yesterday.
Yes.
And you probably want to make mention of that.
A friend of mine, Jimmy Leonard, who worked for the Danbury Fire Department for about 29 plus years, and died yesterday morning of brain cancer. He would have been 60 today.
Didn't quite make it to his birthday.
No.
That's a tough go, Bob. We all send our best wishes out to him and his family and to all his friends and firefighters around the area and around the state and around the country. We know that firefighters don't get enough credit, but we know that they're always there when we need them. So we are sorry to hear that news, Bob, after what has been a good summer, really.
Yeah, most of the summer's been great. We have had we've been in our firehouse. We've been very busy. We actually took 3 trophies this past weekend.
Oh yeah.
In Bridgewater, we won best color guard, best in shirts, and best for custom.
Look at you guys go. Firefighters bringing home the trophies. Very nice to hear.
We have a big one this weekend in Mayapack, Saturday, so
hopefully the weather will be good for that.
100th anniversary. And
was that at the Bridgewater Fair?
Bridgewater Fair, yeah.
Oh yeah? Very good.
That's the one in Mayapack's their 100th anniversary, and they're talking as of right now almost like 80 companies to be there, so.
Wow, big one up in Mayapack. So if you want to get out and support that, and I'm sure it's a good festival, good time.
Oh yeah, that's they have a carnival, they have everything there. So it's Saturday night I think it starts at 3 o'clock. So.
Right on. All right, and we also have our other guys in the studio. Mr. Mike Toohey is here, of course, back running the show. Director extraordinaire. His show Expose Cinema is on Friday nights at 9. Wednesdays at 1. I think this Friday night he's got some stuff on Robin Williams passing away.
Yeah, that was another big blow.
Yeah, it was a big blow. Big blow. And your show, of course, we should mention, Spotlight On, is on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. We mentioned we are here at 6:30. It's our new time. We'll be on at 6:30 from here on out. We will be live the next couple of weeks, and then we'll be back to doing some more tape shows for about a month or so. By mid-October or so, we'll be back regularly live, carrying us through the football season.
And the hockey season.
And the hockey season, and the basketball season. And we also have in studio, we got to move quickly because we got a lot to catch up on. This is going to be kind of a midsummer recap. So we're going to try to catch up on a bunch of things we've missed. But Strange Man is back.
He's back.
He is back. He sniffed us out. He knew we were doing a tape show this afternoon. And we've got 3 Strange Man.
3?
I don't know if they're stats or not.
What's
first one's an announcement.
Oh, okay.
Strange Man is going to look for a strange woman.
Oh.
And together they're going to have a couple of strange kids.
Oh. well, Any
All right, so we move on to number 2. The
Yes.
second one's a joke. The second one's a joke, although
Okay.
the first one may have been more of a
Yeah.
joke than an announcement. What did Jesus say to the Chicago Cubs?
I don't know what.
Give up, turn over. Doesn't sound very Jesus-like. All right, this one's a good stat.
Okay.
Stat of the week for 8/21/14. Strange man stat of the week. 100 years and 42 days since George Herman Babe Ruth's debut in Boston. He was 19 years young and pitched and won 4-3 in his debut.
Isn't there a picture of Mr. Ruth in the background there?
Is there one? Is he in that nice new shot? He might be. We got some nice new decorations here. Bob always goes away and comes back with good stuff. So we'll look closer at that. Yes, could be. So yeah. All right. Well, let's get moving, Bob, because we
Okay.
got a lot to catch up on. Last we were here, we were on the eve of the World Cup Championship. The final was about to go down. I was ditching my Argentinian contingent, heading on vacation to join my German family and, my family-in-law, I should say.
Yeah.
And I was the good luck charm for Germany, not for Argentina.
I was down watching. Well, what?
We were out on the Cape having
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah.
And Argentina was not when it came down to the final end there in extra time. Germany, of course, won it 1-0. Messi, of course, interestingly enough, I don't really understand why people feel the need to label everybody who's, current
Right.
as the greatest ever. Saying he's possibly the greatest player ever of all time,
Right.
not just best Argentinian player. I mean, that first shot we saw of Diego Maradona, he might have something to say about
Right.
that. I mean, come on. And so I just don't get that part of the whole sports landscape right now, where everything that's happening now and didn't happen 5 minutes ago has to be the best of all time.
Right.
As far as Germany goes, first win of the Cup since 1990. When they were West Germany. Remember, they played as West Germany for many, many years with the problems with the Berlin Wall and all that stuff. And now, just as unified Germany, they win. That's their 4th cup. They've been to the final 8 times. And I do believe they were the first European team to win on American soil. North America, South America, Central America. No European team has come over to the Americas and won it all. Germany did it with depth. They had too many options, too many weapons. So hats off to die Mannschaft for getting it done.
Yeah.
And getting it done well. 1-0 in extra time. Thankfully, no penalty kicks to decide what was a great overall tournament.
Right.
Brazil, of course, came up short. The Neymar injury was their undoing. And that really set them back, and they got blown out as well. Not only in the semifinal to Germany, but also they didn't show up for the consolation game against the Netherlands, who did take home the 3rd place trophy. So yeah, there we see right there, 1954, 74, 1990, and 2014 for Germany. Back on top.
Way to go, German.
Yeah, way to go, Germany. So that was obviously a great situation for them. Of course, we know my Italian team did not go so well, but I was given a bit of a reprieve as the World Cup was ending. The Tour de France was gearing up.
Right.
And my man Vincenzo Nibali lifted up the trophy of the Tour de France. First Italian winner of the Tour de France since 1999, putting the Italians back on top of the cycling world. And I thought this was good. We know a lot about Armstrong and the doping scandals that have marred the Tour de France in the last 5 to 8 years or so. Nibali is the outspoken anti-doping poster boy. Let's hope that that's actually rings true and we don't find out later.
That's something out about him now.
But he is the poster boy for anti-doping. Does it clean. You gotta love his nickname, the Shark of the Strait. His area of Italy, the Straits of Italy, is where he comes from, and he performed like a shark. Also, he is small of stature, and they call him the Flea, and he was quite the big flea, however, in France, winning it this year and bringing back maybe some, some semblance to order of the Tour de France. It is a great spectacle. It's visually very appealing to watch. It's amazing to see the cyclists go through the large crowds, go through the mountainsides. It's very compelling. There was a lot of rain, especially early on, which led to some injuries. Alberto Contador, the defending champion, he was knocked out by injury early. And I mean, look, there, you've watched these events. It's quite a spectacle. Beautiful landscape there in France as they cover the whole country. 3 weeks, grueling event. So if it's done and it's done clean and you can win it, I mean, it's quite an accomplishment, really. The amount of miles and the wear and tear on the body these guys put themselves through to win that all. So Ital, it reminded me of the movie Breaking Away. Bob, do you remember that movie?
Yeah, that's
one of my old favorite movies. Remember, it was about the Cutters.
Yes.
And there was a big cycling event that took place in town, and one of the 4 friends was a big cyclist, and he, for one large part of the movie, pretended that he was Italian.
Right.
An ode to the Italian racers, until the Italians came and they basically knocked him off the track and they broke his heart. But that was a great movie. I've never seen Breaking Away. I would go check that movie out. Good old movie. Speaking of different kind of racing, crazy news on the racetrack in the last few weeks.
It's a little
Tony Stewart,
to say the least. I mean, there's still the investigation is going on up in New York, and
Tony Stewart has not raced since. No. He's not going to race again this weekend. This will be the 3rd straight race he misses. He will be out of the chase, which is, secondary at this point.
Right.
He had that terrible incident. It's interesting. These guys, Tony Stewart, one of the main guys who does this, races on these alternate race tracks. And he goes and he supports dirt track racing, and it helps build that sport, and it helps bring attention to those guys, and it gives the lesser-known racers, guys who are not on the NASCAR track or other big tracks, gives them the chance to race with legends of the sport, big high-profile guys. And he went to another dirt track race, and he got a little dust up on the track with a racer, and that racer was a little hot-headed and got out of his car and was chasing him down, and it was, dark.
From what I've understood now is he literally grabbed a hold of the wing part of the back of the car.
And got sucked in and under?
And no, they let go, and he hit the tire.
And spun him up?
And that's what they're saying now. So,
right. But it's been a little bit unclear. Details still forthcoming. The footage was a little shaky because there's low lighting, dark night situation. But ultimately, it was a terrible situation, and Tony Stewart has a death on his hands, which is rough for him to deal with. Now NASCAR has gone ahead, because we've seen some of the photos up there. Tony Stewart has certainly been one guy who's gotten out of his car before and thrown his helmet at other car drivers. But that's a tradition that goes way back in racing.
We had it years ago at the racetrack in Danbury, which is, matter of fact, coming up on the 21st of September.
The SNYRA? Southern New York Racing Association.
Yep.
I do believe we have a photo buried way deep in the photos in there. If Mike sees that along the way. There it is. He's quick on the draw. September 21st.
Yes.
Over at the PAL building, right across from the park, the lake there. Dave King on hand?
Yes.
He will be on hand singing again this year?
Yes.
All right. I did hear, by the way, that some of the duets you did at the 20th anniversary celebration of the Westerners made it up onto the air.
It hasn't made it on YouTube yet, has it?
Not yet. I don't have. I got to find those DVDs. You got to give them to me. All right. Anyways, so we'll look for that, but we'll talk about that as we get closer to that date. But yeah, so now NASCAR has banned racers from getting out of their car to engage in any fights on the racetrack, which seems logical to me. But sometimes logic doesn't always prevail, and it takes a horrible accident to get things done. So that was the big news in racing. Other big stories of the summer that we missed. It's been the summer of Rory roaring back into the spotlight. Rory McIlroy on the golf scene, Bob, wins the British Open and the PGA Championship. And they won a tournament in between those. So 3 straight tournaments for Rory as he cements himself back on top of the golf world. We know last year he had a down season, really struggled. He had changed golf clubs, changed sponsors, and things were not looking good. And also we know that he had the relationship with Caroline Wozniacki, the tennis player, and maybe he was distracted, people felt like. So what happens? He breaks off their engagement.
Right.
All of a sudden, he's back on top. And side note, Wozniacki is also playing well in the tennis tournament. She had been down for a while, not playing well. We'll get to a little tennis in a moment. But the PGA Championship was great, Bob. That Sunday event proved that it just takes a good, compelling event, because the ratings were sky high. Yeah. Tiger missed the cut, nowhere to be found as he battles back from injury. Phil was right there. Right. Some other guys were playing very well in that tournament. There was a crowd of players right at the top, and it was a great event. I actually tuned into that whole final round. I was interested to see what happened, and Rory started the day out front, fell behind by 3 strokes, and on the back 9 he went to work and came back and held off Phil by 1 stroke. And then it was darkness was prevailing because there was rain early in the day, and they couldn't get they were racing to finish. And the foursome, the final 2 groups paired up for a final foursome on the 18th hole, which you don't see every tournament, especially when a major is on the line. And he almost bagged it. He almost put his ball in the water there. So it was high drama, high compelling action. And maybe the media will finally stop saying, oh, this tournament will mean nothing if Tiger's out of it. That's not what it's about. No. It's about if there's players playing neck and neck. Right. Earlier in the season, the Masters was a blowout. The U.S. Open was a blowout. Of course somebody watched. There was 6-stroke leads in those tournaments on the final day. Who cared about that? But if there's, some of these young players proving themselves, Phil being in the mix certainly helped. No doubt about that. But, as long as it's somebody, the title's up for grabs, 1-stroke, 2-stroke lead as we go through it, I think golf fans will tune in, and they did in full force. So now Rory gets to start next year going for possibly the Rory Slam, as he's won British PGA. He's never won the Masters. He's won 4 majors now. I think that was his 2nd PGA, yes. And he's won a U.S. Open. But he could possibly get the career Grand Slam, which would be something. And also he could keep alive 4 straight major tournaments, the Rory Slam, if he were to win the Masters. So we know come next season, it's going to be, a lot of people tuning in to see what happens. Golf is going to have a leg up on the game starting the season. The only thing I'm worried about is Rory has suddenly been hanging around with Tiger Woods this past week, making the rounds on some TV shows, doing a little partying with him. And then what happened today? He goes 3 over at the tournament that's taking place today. I'm a little worried about that action. So hopefully he doesn't do that and hang out with him. All right, we got a couple other things to mention. NBA news and notes.
Do we really care?
I don't care
so much about the Carmelo Bull.
Melo, Zen Master feels mellow. That's your headline out of New York, as Carmelo stays in New York, and then he drops a few pounds. He's on that King James, Pawn James diet.
Everybody Bron's out and
Bron gives the stiff arm to Miami. Bye-bye, heading back to Cleveland. Who says you can't go home again? Cleveland fans who burn their jersey all say, come back, and he does.
Yeah, but
they get blown out by the Spurs in the championship, and not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7 championships. Not going to happen in Miami. He's heading back to Cleveland.
So what's your opinion?
I am personally surprised by that. I never really did feel he would go back to Cleveland.
I never thought he would leave, go back to Cleveland, because I thought he's happy in Miami with Wade and everything. But
I don't know. I have no idea what to make of the NBA. I mean, the NBA now, the big story is, where's Kevin Durant going to go in 2016? Why is it never about what's happening now in the present?
Right.
It's always down the road with the NBA. When's the next free agent class? Is Kevin Durant going to return to his home city of Washington, D.C. and play for the Bullets, the Wizards? What are their names? The Wizards.
Yeah. What about your Celtics? Do you have any idea what they're going to do
Celtics
this year?
had a good draft. That was about it. Who knows? Rondo didn't get traded. We'll get into the NBA much later, but that was news of note. Bron going back to Cleveland and Melo staying. You know, who knows? So NFL preseason also underway.
Yeah, I got to see my Giants.
Giants are tinkering with this new offense, trying to get it on track. We'll see if they can do that. They get another chance tonight against crosstown rival, the New York Sexy Rexy Jets.
And the Jets actually have been doing pretty good.
Well, you know.
I mean,
it's preseason.
I know. So
should we make mention of the, speaking of Dave King, his prediction in the control room before we started the show?
They're going to Super Bowl.
Super Bowl or bust, yeah. Dave King says. He thinks they're going all the way. He says they're going to knock off the Patriots in the AL. Dave King says it.
And then we're going to go.
He sticks by his prediction.
So they're going to go to the Super Bowl in Arizona is what?
Super Bowl in Arizona. He's saying the Jets are flying high.
Yeah.
Rexy's sure been talking again. You can't keep a good man down. Rexy likes to talk. He's been talking plenty again. Patriots, my only thing I've been interested with the Patriots is how the cheerleader workouts are going. What's happening with the tryouts as they work out their new cheerleaders? We see right there, looking back, looks like they got a good crop to choose from. That's for sure.
Well, what about the players?
Players, not too many of the starters have played much. Revis a little bit in that last game against the Eagles. I still have to wrap my head around rooting for Revis and Revis Island coming to New England. We will get more and more into that as we have time to break down the NFL in the next 2 weeks, as we will do an NFL preview show probably in 2 weeks, which is when the season will kick off. Nice to see right there Gronkowski on the field practicing. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. They play the Panthers. I'd like to see some of the starters get a little bit more time. They really have been holding the starters back quite a bit in the first 2 weeks. We will see. All right, we got about 8 minutes maybe or so.
Well,
5 minutes maybe, I'm not sure.
Do you want to talk anything about the Westerns, how it went?
Not really, because we got to get the Major League Baseball thing going, Bob. Yankees were winning as we were coming into the studio today to break their little losing streak. They had lost 7 of their last 9, including 2 straight to the Houston Astros. How about this, Bob? The Astros come to Boston, and they come to New York, and they take 2 out of 4 from Boston and 2 out of 3 from the Yankees.
Isn't that pretty
4
sad?
and 3 they go on this little road trip. Houston, hello. Pineda returns for the Yankees, but he was a tough luck loser last night as the bullpen blew it.
Yep.
Yankees falling fast. They will move to 64 and 61, 9 games behind the Orioles. Bucks, Birds flying high at 73 and 52, looking pretty good. Baltimore to hold on to the division. Of more important information, Yankees will now be 4.5. Actually, the Tigers were playing today.
Right.
Not sure what the final was. They were losing 1-0 against Tampa Bay when we entered the show here as we were taped for the 6:30. The game will be over by the time we get to air. So there will either be 4 or 5 games behind Detroit, who has stumbled. How about this? Detroit and Oakland, Bob, making the big trades as the Red Sox, defending champions, blow up their team, trade everybody. Leicester, bye-bye, headed to Oakland, and they have struggled. Angels now the best team in baseball. The Angels, Bob, the Halos, who have taken the first 3 of a series in Boston. They play a 4th game tonight in Boston. We'll see if the Red Sox can man up and get one. Red Sox, how about this, Bob? In the last 5 games, they are a robust 2 for 37 with runners in scoring position.
Sounds like a Westerners season.
2 for 37 with runners in scoring position. Unbelievable. They're 56 and 70 on the season, not the defending championship season they were looking for as they blew up their team. But the Yankees are behind the Tigers, 5-game wild card standings. Oakland, is well ahead. They're not the team to look for. Detroit at 68 and 56. So, they're playing 12 games over 500, and the Yankees only playing 3 games over 500, 5 games back. Seattle, Cano batting 329. How about that? What do you know, Robbie Cano? And the Seattle Mariners hot on the heels of Detroit for that second wild card. Cleveland, you got to give Tito Francona credit because they got rid of some players in the offseason. They've lost some players due to injury, but they are still 64 and 61, so they're kind of in the mix ahead of the Yankees. Toronto also ahead of the Yankees at 65 and 62. They'll have 4 teams to jump over. The Yankees want to get in the mix. And looking at their schedule, they get the Royals, who are in first place in the Central, Bob, playing great. The Royals are. They have the Royals. They have the Tigers. Other than that, in September, they play all AL East, including 8 against the Orioles head-to-head, 6 with the Red Sox, 6 with Tampa Bay. So it's going to be tough. 40 games left for them to come back. Here's your stat. I got my stat of the week, Strange Man. Where do you got? He didn't give me this stat. I'll put my stat out there.
What's your stat of the week?
Derek Jeter, the Capitan, in his final season with 40 games to go. How many extra base hits do you think he has for the slap and Judy punch singles hitter that he has become?
I don't know.
On the seasons.
30, 35?
Not even close.
No?
17 extra base hits on the season, Bob. A punch and Judy singles hitter he has become in his farewell tour. We only got a few minutes left. All right, Red Sox traded away everybody, including off-season moves before we started. Ellsbury, Saltalamacchia, Lester, Lackey, Peavy, Dubront, Gomes, Carp, Miller. 4 of the 5 starting pitchers are gone, Bob. Reminds me of 04. How about these names after they won their first championship in 04? Pedro, Damon, D'Lo, Arroyo, Bill Miller, Cabrera, Reese, Roberts, Minkevich, Folk. They were all gone within 2 seasons, most of which were gone before the start of the first season.
Right.
Unbelievable. Big Papi, however, this season still there from the first, of their championships in the recent run. How about this, Bob? He leads the major leagues with 93 RBIs. It seems impossible that he could be leading the majors with a team that cannot score any runs at all. National League, as we got about a minute left, Nationals have won 9 straight, Bob, 72-53. Milwaukee's still holding on to first place. The Dodgers holding off the Giants. Only 1 game in the loss column, but the Giants have played 5 fewer games for some reason. So that race is a little bit tighter than maybe it looks. Giants, Cardinals, Braves are really your teams to watch in the wild card. Pittsburgh snapped their losing streak last night. Still only 2.5 out, so maybe as they get McCutchen back, they can get back on track, and the Pirates can maybe get back in the mix. We will get more into baseball and football next week when we return live at 6:30. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for bearing with us as we took off for the summer. We will see you again next week.